That's a big boy. He's strong. You box good. You can do this. You got this over him. You're gonna have to tighten up this. You're gonna have to do this. It's a conversation.
With Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him.
Floyd Mayweather's first words after training with Terence Crawford were brimming with confidence as he gave suggestions to help Crawford prepare for Canelo Alvarez. Floyd Mayweather, widely considered as the greatest of all time, has stated his willingness to train Terence Crawford, having defeated Canelo Alvarez in 2013. Mayweather's expertise and strategic thoughts might immensely aid Crawford, especially if he moves up to face Canelo, harnessing Floyd's mastery to prepare for the task.
I didn't have to have 70 fights or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
Floyd Mayweather reflected on his fight with Canelo Alvarez, emphasizing his smaller size during the bout, saying, "I probably came in at 152. Despite the weight difference, Floyd showcased his mastery in the ring, dominating the younger, stronger Canelo with skill, precision, and experience, cementing his legacy as a boxing great.
It wasn't my idea. So at one particular time, you guys can, anybody, you can go online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid. So he said, Floyd don't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 pounds or 152 and a half. And me, I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152 and a half. And, but after Canelo made the weight, it wasn't like it was a certain clause to where he couldn't gain weight. So after he weighed 152 or 152 and a half, I think he came in like 168 or close to 170. And actually I came in at probably like, I probably came in at 151 and 152.
Gotcha.
But Roy Jones is one hell of a fighter. I can't get on here and hate on his skills, and knock his skills. He's been through a lot in the sport of boxing, and he's done a lot for the sport of boxing. And I'm absolutely proud of Roy Jones.
Floyd Mayweather has just offered his opinions on a hypothetical matchup between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. He has expressed caution regarding this match, indicating that Crawford should carefully assess the hurdles faced by going up in weight to meet Alvarez. Mayweather's ideas are guided by his personal experience, having defeated Alvarez in 2013. He underlines the need of strategic planning and extensive preparation for such a crucial fight.
Terence Crawford jumping up from 154 to 168 and beating this quote-unquote version of Canelo Alvarez would diminish the accomplishment that Floyd Mayweather accomplished beating his version of Canelo Alvarez. Is it two different versions of Canelo Alvarez? And obviously, Canelo Alvarez is 62 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is obviously bigger. When Floyd fought him, it was at 152 catch weight, but it had no rehydration clause. So you might as well just say it was at 154. Now, two things they have in common is that Floyd Mayweather was 36, 37 years of age. Terence Crawford is 37 years of age, going on 38. So he'll be 38 when he fights Canelo Alvarez. Floyd had already had 2 fights at 154. He had the fight with Miguel Cotto, and he had the fight with Oscar De La Hoya.
Recently, Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather visited the gym to observe Shakur Stevenson train, emphasizing their support for the emerging boxing star. Their attendance illustrates the great mentorship and brotherhood within the boxing community. In a recent Las Vegas gym encounter, Floyd Mayweather hilariously addressed Eddie Hearn's prior comments, questioning his net worth. Mayweather, who has made over $1.2 billion over his career, lightheartedly showed Hearn several of his accounts to prove his wealth, leading to a cordial interaction between the two. Eddie Hearn was observed participating in a spirited chat with Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. The trio appeared to enjoy each other's company, sharing jokes and talking numerous boxing matters.
Called me early. It's like, yo, when you spar, I'm gonna come to the gym. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna spar at 4 o'clock. I really didn't think he was gonna pull up, but he pulled up. It means everything. His advice and listening to him in the ring. He calling out little shit. I'm trying to make sure I do what he says. So I appreciate it.
Can you hear him when you were sparring?
Hell yeah, I can hear everything he's saying. He want me to box. He want me to. I can hear him, but sometimes it's like it's hard to listen. Sometimes I gotta listen a little bit more. A hell of a blessing to have Bud, Floyd, all these guys backing me, and I appreciate them. I'm just trying to keep pushing and keep getting better and better.
Eddie Hearn subsequently related his experience of meeting Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather in a training camp, stating that it wasn't a planned visit. I didn't go down to the gym to meet Crawford and Floyd. I was just there, and they probably knew I was there, so they pulled up. Eddie explained, reflecting on the encounter. Eddie mentioned he hadn't spoken much with Floyd before, despite meeting him several times, but found him to be quite funny. He also joked about being the one to bring out Crawford's personality, claiming he's single-handedly making him the most popular fighter in the world.
I was just in the gym. They probably heard I was there, so they wanted to pull up. You know what I'm saying? No,
What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really spoke to Floyd before. I've met him half a dozen times, and we've sort of said hello and all that kind of stuff. But actually, he's a funny fucker. He is. And I'm single-handedly making Terence Crawford the most popular fighter in the world, because I am the only one that's ever brought out his personality. True or false? Right? And Terence is one of the top guys in the sport.
But even if he wasn't, you'd still say that because your business mind now is working and you're going,
I wouldn't say top. I might say top, but he's unbelievably humble. Let me give you an example. Terence Crawford is with Steve Nelson's team. Okay? They are staying at a hotel, part of the Cosmopolitan Group, across the street. All right? Nice hotel.
Oh, my hotel, actually.
Yeah, okay. Nice, right, but, you know, there are many more fancy hotels in Las Vegas, okay? He has a standard room there, and we said to him, listen, do you want us to get you he could go into any hotel in Vegas and get a palatial suite. And he said, no, I want to stay with Steve for the week in a standard room. Now, to some people, they might go, oh, big deal. You know what people are like. I don't know many people that would actually do that. Floyd definitely wouldn't do that. But Terence is probably one of the most humble fighters in his position of the sport. And do you know what I love about being in environments like that last night? The love for the sport. Like, Terence is watching Shakur sparred. Shakur sparred 14 rounds. 14 4-minute rounds with 30-second breaks. And Terence and Floyd watched the entire spar. They then went to another ring and watched another, I think it was Ray Ford, and watched another spar.
Eddie Hearn further commended Terence Crawford, noting him as perhaps the most modest boxer in his position, despite his standing as one of boxing's top. Crawford remains ground-rounded and approachable, a feature that sets him different. Hearn praised Crawford's honesty, emphasizing his appreciation for the sport and his true demeanor while laying into this exciting bout. Teddy Atlas asks if Canelo Alvarez can handle the smaller, quicker, and slicker Terence Crawford. He highlights Crawford's superior defensive skills, better footwork, and ability to create angles, tools that could exploit Canelo's occasional tendency to slow down at this stage of his career. Teddy Atlas further asks if Canelo can still close gaps quickly, or if Crawford's speed and movement will keep him off balance. Atlas wonders if Crawford can negate Canelo's power by keeping elusive and not allowing him to blow his bombs.
It seems like it's not official, but it may be a done deal. Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. Early thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, look, the first thought is, can he handle the weight jump? Can he handle the weight jump? He being Crawford against Matvedorf, people are going to say, "Oh, he had some hiccups." Who don't have hiccups? When you eat something that's a little difficult to eat, and Matvedorf was a little difficult to eat. He's not easy to digest. He's a good fighter. When you eat something that's a little tough to digest, you get hiccups, right? So come on, he's human. So he had a few hiccups. He won the fight. He's Terence Crawford. A lot of people say, "Oh, Teddy, you make him so good. You're always saying how great Crawford is." But who's he beating? He unified the what was his first division? Lightweight. Then he unified the junior. Then he unified the junior welter. Then he unified the welter. I think I got the weight classes right. It doesn't matter. He unified like 3 different weight classes. He moved up in weight. He's beaten anybody that they put in front of him. He beat an undefeated fighter in Errol Spence that everybody thought was just like, one of the best fighters out there, which he was. He was one of the top fighters pound for pound out there, and he didn't just beat him. He dismantled him. He might have ruined him. We were talking about getting ruined in fights earlier. He might have ruined him. We don't know. He hasn't been back yet, Spence. He may have psychologically, physically ruined him. But he has done everything asked of him, and he's done it in a superb way. It's not that he's just won. I look at how people win. How versatile are they? How mentally together are they? What happens when they're tested? What happens when they have to make an adjustment? I look at all those things. What happens when they can't depend on power? What else do they have to depend on? I look at everything, their technique, their defense, their offense, all of it. And I look at Crawford as one of those special guys. I don't care if you guys are tired of me saying it. I look at him. Look, Canelo's special too. I get it. And he's bigger. I get that too.
BX offered his thoughts on Canelo Alvarez's statements about Terence Crawford, stating that Canelo seemed to belittle Crawford's achievements potentially to set the table for a potential showdown back, noted Crawford's response to critics who claim he hasn't faced elite opponents, pointing out that those fighters were renowned before Crawford decimated them. This highlights Crawford's dominance, making top-tier opponents appear mediocre. BAC stated that Crawford seeks no excuses or stipulations, such as a rehydration clause, since he wants to prove he's the best without constraint. Crawford's willingness to tackle problems head-on highlights his confidence and pound-for-pound greatness.
Yeah, Shakur is, and he's taking on all smoke.
Look, it'd be remiss of me not to talk about the pound-for-pound #1 in the world, Terence Crawford. Always making headlines these days. He cemented his legacy. I think certified Hall of Famer whenever he wraps it up. Stepped up in weight, won another world title last time out. Now they're talking about this fight with Canelo Alvarez. It was interesting to see the comments from Canelo and how he sort of assessed Bud Crawford's career. I almost feel after the Spence fight that was like an exclamation point on everything he's done, maybe from the critics who never gave him credit, but it almost seems like Canelo was downplaying his achievements. What do you make of that? Is that to build a fight? Because it sells itself.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I think Crawford rebuttal was everybody always say he hasn't fought nobody, or everybody that he fought was a no name. But I'm gonna tell you like this: what Crawford said, well, they was something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal.
Not everyone, like when they go against Canelo, I don't think there's anyone else in boxing who you would ask and say this is a possible task for. But for Crawford, because of his pound-for-pound abilities, and apparently no rehydration clause. Am I hearing that right? He wants full smoke at that weight.
Let's go, man. That's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So, hey, why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best? So let's go test ourselves.
Look, I appreciate you taking this time, and we don't get to speak all the time, so it's good to get you over here, and maybe we'll catch up later in fight week, but I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right.
Dan Rafael discussed the long-anticipated bout between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, adding that it has been a topic of talk Among fans and pundits for quite some time, he commended promoter Eddie Hearn for making the event happen. Rafael also claimed that Canelo showed a willingness for this clash, though he felt there was a minor decline in Canelo's enthusiasm towards it. Canelo, known for his business-smart mindset, is also expecting a significant financial payoff from the clash. Rafael's insight emphasizes both the excitement and the financial incentives behind the highly anticipated clash. Canelo Alvarez doesn't have many middleweight opponents who can garner the same level of public attention as Terence Crawford. Crawford's unique talents, reputation, and allure make this fight highly exciting.
In the May, I've read somewhere that Canelo has shortlisted Crawford for the May fight, his fight in May. Dan, what's happening?
Yeah, listen, I think it's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in the sport for quite a while. Certainly, it's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting. Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees, who can I fight where I can make the biggest score, in a big time fight?
Steve Nelson highlighted that fans believe Terence Crawford should fight a legitimate 168-pounder like David Benavidez to secure his reputation, but the notion doesn't make sense strategically. Nelson emphasized that Crawford is motivated by legacy and financial gain. He labeled the idea of Crawford fighting certain opponents as an advanced cherry pick, suggesting that while it may seem like a bold move, it strategically avoids risk by targeting fights that could favor Crawford in terms of size, style, or public perception. This reflects debates over balancing meaningful matchups with career-defining financial and legacy opportunities.
Steve Nelson just said, and I'm paraphrasing because you guys heard it, link will be in the description. He just told you out his own mouth, he's like, fans are saying that Crawford should fight David Benavidez or a true 168-pounder. Doesn't make sense. Bud is after legacy, and then he said, and money. So this proves why I don't want to see this particular fight like some of y'all. He just told you. So this is what I call an advanced cherry pick. Now, I know some people, you're going to start crying. The reason I say advanced, now, it's not an advanced, it's not a cherry pick in the normal sense of like, because this would be an accomplishment if Bud can defeat somebody at a higher weight class without acclimating, right? So it's not the traditional cherry pick, but it is still an advance, or this is what I'm calling it, an advanced cherry pick, because his own teammate and friend, Steve Nelson, is telling you there's no reason for Bud to fight a true 168-pounder. He started off by saying Canelo Alvarez started off smaller, like a welterweight earlier in his career at 54, and then made his way up to 68. So that lets me know the mentality from Team Crawford is Canelo, we know he has shown signs of slippage and being a little bit older in his recent fights.
On impulsive, Terence Crawford hailed Canelo Alvarez as a powerful, talented fighter, calling him a big lad in the ring. Nonetheless, Crawford underlined that boxing ultimately comes down to stepping up and battling, noting that greatness is shown through action and willingness to confront the biggest obstacles head-on. Showbiz, the grown-up talk down why Canelo Alvarez's claim about Terence Crawford having just one significant win is off the mark. While it's true Errol Spence was Crawford's biggest win, Showbiz pointed out Crawford had multiple important triumphs that established his legacy. He highlighted Sean Porter, who had never been stopped until Crawford Kell Brook, who Crawford crushed with ease, and Gamboa, a fight where Crawford first demonstrated his supremacy. He also mentioned Victor Postal as a key win. According to him, Crawford's career is distinguished by constant excellence, proving he's far more than simply a one-win fighter.
He said, when Terence Crawford said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost, I don't think that was a strong point. The reason why, and I love Terence Crawford, but I understand people gonna get hurt and all that, so y'all get hurt in comments all that. But I don't think it was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want to talk about light heavyweight, he moved up and he beat Kovalev. He knocked Kovalev out the first time he moved up. Then he moved up again and he lost to Bivol. 115, 113, losing to Bivol. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he moves up to 154. He won 115, 113, but it was against an 11-0 Madrimov who didn't really have much of a resume. So, I mean, it's just different. Let's be honest. Madrimov, you can't really name who's his biggest win. Canelo Alvarez and what he had to say about Terence Bud Crawford was false. Terence Bud Crawford has more than one good win. He had one significant win, which was like his biggest win, but he had many of good wins. A lot of people like to bring up Postal, which, I just think he was too much for him, to be honest. But I do like his Sean Porter win, right? I like the way he dismantled Kell Brook. He had some wins. I mean, even against Gamboa at the time, that was really when you were like, oh, this Terence Crawford is really too much for this division. So, I mean, yeah, Errol Spence was his biggest win, but he didn't just have one win.
That's everything for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.